Worked podcast. You're with host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Anson Roberts. Welcome to the show, Anson.
Thank you so much for having me, brother. Excited to be here.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then we're going to talk to Anson and find out a little bit about him. All right, Anson, you've got 3 lifelines. You can do a 50-50 split, poll the audience, or you have 30 seconds to Google. If you're not sure, it's really important that you use your lifelines. Otherwise, you'll get wiped out very quickly. All right, first question for Anson. Captured in an iconic photograph, the World War II flag raising at Iwo Jima took place atop what mountain? Mount Fuji, Mount Suribachi, Mount Kita, or Mount Tate?
It's not Cheetah Tate. It's
Clint Eastwood did a movie about it.
I'm gonna guess Bachi, however you say that.
All right, let's lock it in. That's correct. Well done, Anson. I could not remember the correct answer. I was a bit worried there. Acting legend Meryl Streep made her film debut in 1977 in what Oscar-nominated film? Julia, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, or The China Syndrome?
I'm gonna guess Julia.
All right, let's lock it in without a lifeline. Incredible. That was correct. I don't know if Anson's really good at this or just really lucky. According to a popular expression, what is always 2020? Hindsight, bad luck, failure, or anger?
A, hindsight.
Hindsight. Are they all A? Well done, that's correct. Next question. British General James Brudenell, the namesake of a popular style of clothing, held which of these titles? The Prince of Pullover, the Sultan of Sweater, the Earl of Cardigan, or the Tsar of Turtleneck?
This is going to be a complete guess. Let's go with the Prince of Pullover.
Prince of Pullover is incorrect. Unfortunately, it's Earl of Cardigan. Anson's flying by the seat of his pants. Unfortunately, didn't use lifelines, and it's all over. But well done. Thanks for playing anyway. Let's have a round of applause for Anson. Well done, Anson. All right, Anson, tell us a little bit about what you get up to in terms of your coaching activities. What do you do and who do you do it for or to?
Yes. Yeah, hopefully more for and less to them. And so, our coaching work that we focus on specifically supports entrepreneurs and leaders, and even more specifically in the area of mindset development and effectively creating internal frameworks and a structure of belief that allows them to operate from a center that makes their dreams, desires that they have inevitable. That's our goal, is trying to make things inevitable because of the inputs that we put into our own system of life.
And which came first, the coaching or the Airbnb business?
Yeah, the Airbnb real estate side came first. And I have launched a few different companies over the past 12 plus years now. The real estate front with the focus in Airbnb started about a little less than 2 years ago. And prior to that, I had a pretty intense, challenging season, to say the least, that required that I do a lot of my own development internally and repatterning a lot of my own frameworks of life, and realizing traction and success. Materially in some ways, but success more so meaning that I am seeing results in the direction of things that are important to me. I'm actually doing the things that I say I want to do and being the person I want to be, and desiring to see other people experience that. And frankly, it started with coming out of that really dark season and saying to myself, I do not want other people to feel the way that I feel at this time, or the way that I felt. And so that was the impetus for it.
So what did you experience, and when did this happen?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 years ago now. I had some success on a couple of different business fronts, specifically financially, and was at a place where it wasn't quite at retiring, but my family was going to be able to begin living a different style of life that I'd worked for close to a decade to create. And in a relatively short amount of time, I lost everything except for my home. And the losing of everything completely shattered my concept of self, my identity, lost all self-respect. And I went into a pretty dark spiral. And it wasn't until a good ways into that I was like, dude, I am depressed. And it was at the point my wife even asked me, like, hey, do you need to consider some medication? And I was like, okay, things are quite bad. And I had to go through a process of complete overhaul of who I am and reimagining what it means to be Anson. And so through that, out of necessity, building new belief systems about reality and who I am, and thankfully finding some traction in a few of those approaches.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. You need to go through a real kind of setback, or a disaster almost, along the way to be healthy long term, I think. What was it about what you were doing previously that kind of contributed to this period that you went through?
Yeah, I was not operating from a place of agency and self-awareness. And so I was doing some things well and really grinding hard and creating value in the market. But in the midst of that, I was not taking care of my own internal space. My heart and mind and the attention to those was secondary to my performance. And so, it's like you're planting a garden and the only thing you do is put on fertilizer, and you don't ensure there's sunshine and water and good soil. And the results of that yield are only going to last so long. And so I played that out to the nth degree, and was faced with the realization that I have put the cart before the horse, and this path that I'm on is not sustainable. And any kind of success that I want to see in my life, if I want to actually, make a positive impact on the world, bring value to those around me, and live in a way that I can respect and feel aligned in, I have to have the humility and the courage to look at the closets that I have buried my own things in, and so there was a lot of humble pie I had to eat in that phase, and be willing to turn over any rock that surfaced in my life, and repattern ways of the way I related to individuals, past experiences, traumas, pains, failures, all those things in a way that actually empowered and created a possible path to a life that I could respect.
And what are you doing differently now on the business side post all of that?
Yeah. First and foremost, it's I am taking care of the system that is Anson. So I will flex on a lot of things. I will sometimes dial up or dial down how aggressively I'm going after things, but the things I do not flex on are the things that I know contribute to my own well-being, mental health, emotional stability. So practically, that looks like a morning routine that quite tangibly and practically saved my life. And, within that, that's things like reflective meditation, journaling exercises, continuing in a regular fitness.
That's a big one for mental health.
It's huge. It's huge. Even my diet is worlds apart from where it was a couple of years ago. I had a point where I had spent literally days in a dark room in my basement. And keep in mind, I have a family of 4. I've got 2 kids who are now 6 and 9. And I was not leaving my basement for days and weeks at a time while my wife tried to keep our life together. And I was in a lot of inner turmoil.
Is that because that's where you were, you got your computer and you were working, or were you just sitting in the basement?
No, I was doing nothing. And, I recognized that there was a lot of things that I needed to address emotionally and psychologically. But we have a pretty substantial garden at our home. Our whole, more than half of our yard is gardens. And I was looking out there one day and considering these plants that we have and thinking, if we did not give them some of the basic things that they need, there's no chance of them actually experiencing any level of health, much less flourishing and providing a yield. And then looking at my life, I'm like, dude, you eat terrible. When's the last time you got sunshine on your body? You're not actually staying hydrated. You're not moving your body, and yet you expect to feel good? Sorry, buddy. It doesn't work that way. And so one of the most integral things that I had to do was take responsibility for my own physical health and recognizing the extraordinary link between that and how your brain is able to operate. And so taking control of my diet, hydration, fitness, all those things it was like, that's the entry price to even having the possibility of experiencing any kind of overall well-being.
That's amazing. Yeah, that one is so simple. And, I tell people, sometimes if I hear somebody that is going through something, is to, even to the point where I will get up and go out and get them to go walk the dog or whatever it is, like just getting moving. I don't know what it is, but if you punish yourself a little bit physically, you have a real shift in how you feel about everything, and you feel like you can cope with things and just be at your best. And I'm not, I could be doing more, obviously, but that's a huge one. And what types of people do you help with this coaching business?
Yeah. As I started to feel a desire to support others, the most intuitive and natural place to start was helping people who are in seasons or in positions similar to myself. And so that's what I know. I know the experience of the entrepreneur who's trying to build something, the person who's trying to bring value to the world and to the market, who's trying to live in an aligned way, potentially with a family. And so that's where we focus. And my partner, David, and I in the coaching space look at supporting specifically either entrepreneurs who are carving their own path or leaders within companies who, either of these individuals are going to be people who no longer see that simply grinding is sufficient for the life that they want to lead. And they're going to be individuals who feel a desire to actually experience a level of purpose in what they do. They want to feel aligned internally, that what they think and the actions that they do are aligned, and that there's not a discrepancy, there's not a delta between those. And so I think that is it's a paramount desire, I think, that's baked into us humans, is that we want to live in accordance with how we understand ourselves in the world. And when there's a discrepancy there, we experience pain. And so whenever we can take actions that get those things lined up, then we can start to actually feel a level of peace, and that what we're doing actually matters in the grand scheme of things.
All right, switching it up, tell us a bit about the Airbnb. Where are you at with that, the Airbnb stuff?
Yeah, so on that front, I had acquired a property with my wife about 7 years ago. We picked this up because it had a detached, smaller, what we call a carriage house, because this house was built 100 years ago, and they literally used it for their horses and storing carriages. And this is in Denver, Colorado. So we started operating that as an Airbnb, a short-term rental. And I had another business at the time. Spent some time also in renovating and flipping houses, managing those projects with investors. And then a couple of years ago, as I was considering a potential shift in the focus from a career standpoint, the Airbnb space felt like a natural intersection point, because previously I had a service-based business. I had experience in the service industry with my own Airbnb, as well as in real estate with the flipping. And so the Airbnb space was a quite natural intersection point of those various skill sets, which is, for those who are trying to figure out what to do next, seeing where those lines come together of your previous experiences can be a quite helpful way to frame a decision process for what you want to do. So we now, manage about 15 properties. And some of those are for homeowners who they have a second home, or it's just a straight investment property. Some of those have been acquisitions with partners. So an individual who wants to invest in real estate and short-term rentals, but doesn't understand it, doesn't want to learn it, doesn't want to do anything. So we come in as a partner and can help with everything from acquisitions to design to then actually managing the space.
Cool. Hey, Anson, did you used to be in the military?
I did not.
Okay, there's an Anson Roberts soldier that's been through a bit. I thought, quite a coincidence. I haven't heard many people with your name. Never mind, it's not you. Yes. Anyway, that's awesome. So, and what type of business people do you work with the coaching? Where are they at?
Yeah, so they can be anywhere. So most of our work is done remotely. I've done some work with individuals in person as well when it makes sense, but they can be anywhere in the world. Generally, they're simply going to be people who are already taking action in some specific way. They're experiencing some level of success, but there's some of the intangibles, the internal spaces that they could use external support with. Because, here's the thing, is that if someone is already experiencing some objective success in business, they already have some skill sets. But if their felt experience of it is different than what they are desiring, and what they hope to be real, is it possible they can achieve that on their own? Yes. But it also took me quite a few years and a lot of struggle to find that. And so this is the work that we do is for those who identify a need and think and are open to the idea that having external support could actually expedite that process and potentially help put some guide rails up for realizing the desires they have in a more efficient manner.
Do you find that what you went through was in some ways related to the idea that building the business you felt centered and you enjoyed it, even though there was no financial success, and then post financial success you felt lost a bit? Did you feel that?
My previous business, which was in the automotive space, I was passionate about building things. And at that point, I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to create something. And I wanted to scale something that materialized into clear value for my family as well. And frankly, there was not a deep connection to purpose in that. And unfortunately, for a number of years, I didn't even enjoy it. But I kept telling myself that I could do it because it was what was before me, and I would make the best of it, and I could build something whether or not it felt aligned. And for me, that was not sustainable. And so, coming out of that was a deep reflection process of, I have to do work that actually connects with my own soul. It has to feel meaningful to me. And I don't know if everyone orients in that way, but there is a sustainable level of power whenever we can actually find that intersection point of what actually motivates us, what we're good at, and what brings value to the world. And have you heard of the Japanese framing of Ikigai?
No, I've heard of the one that Toyota uses, but I can't remember the name of it. Tell us, Anson.
Yeah, so Ikigai is this concept of being able to find that intersection point of what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be compensated for, and what you love. And whenever you find it, you can imagine these concentric overlapping circles. And at that center point is where the juice is at. And that, whenever we are able to find that, and that journey to that is not always a quick process. I feel like that's been unfolding for me for a number of years now. But if we can find that, there's the possibility of experiencing a path of life that is not only sustainable, but that we love, and actually creates a life where there's material value that is simply the reciprocation of the market to what we're bringing. And so that is core to what we do on the coaching side as well, is valuing that framework, and helping people find their way into it.
Ticking every box. Hey, that sounds like a good idea for a book, Anson. Ikigai by Anson Roberts, the Ikigai framework.
There you go.
There you go. All right, awesome. And you're mostly active on Instagram, so if you want to follow Anson and learn about Ikigai and all of the other interesting things that Anson's doing, as well as Airbnb entrepreneurship, follow him up on Instagram. We've got all the other links in the show notes and description. Thank you very much, Anson Roberts, for coming on.
Thank you, Julian.
No worries. Wonderful. I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks for listening and watching. See you next time. Bye.